If you're having trouble hitting your daily protein goal, then please stay tuned and I'm gonna share with you some strategies I like to give my clients that help them out to get their daily protein intake. Because we know protein is the most important macronutrient you need to hit. My name is Diego Rivera. I've been a fitness professional for over 7 years now. And I've made this channel to empower you by giving you the information you need to build a healthier and stronger you. Here, we're gonna keep things as simple as possible. Now it is my privilege and honor. Enjoy. What's going on, guys? Welcome back for this discussion about protein and so that you could hit your protein goal daily. Now, hitting your protein, we know, is the one most important things we need to do. However, it's not easy. When you really see how much protein you're eating and how much protein you need to eat, you're like, holy crap, how am I gonna get here when I'm all the way down here? Well, don't worry. We're gonna talk about a few strategies to help you. But a few points that we're gonna go over. It's 1, you have to know your daily protein intake. 2, we need to divide that number up in order to know how much protein intakes we could take daily. 3, we need to have a way to track and to measure. 4, we need to see where exactly we are at the moment. 5, we need to make any adjustments on the app that we're using. Today, we're going to be talking about the MyFitnessPal app because that's the regular one that most people use and one I use for my clients as well. We need to make adjustments in the protein intake or goal on that app. 6, we need to know exactly how to adjust the serving size in the app as well. And 7, we need to know how to plan for the next day or the next few days in order to get our protein effectively. So starting off with number 1, we need to know our protein intake goal for a day. For example, as discussed in the last video, we talked about how our goal should be minimum of 0.7 of a gram per body weight in pounds up to a gram per body weight in pounds. Now, keep this in mind with some of my clients who are a little bit on the heavier side. For example, you're 200 pounds, you want to hit 150 if that's really what you're trying to achieve or your doctor tells you to achieve, whatever it may be. And you want to use that 150 as a reference point. So now 0.7 of 150 is about 105 grams of protein a day, up to 150 grams of protein a day. And that's just a regular recommendation. You don't have to go by that. If you want to hit higher, you could. But then again, your goal is to lose weight. So you want to make sure that you're not in a calorie surplus. You want to be in a deficit as best as possible. So knowing your protein daily intake is super important because now we have a goal. Boom, we're going to try to shoot for this number. Okay, so now we're going to use the example of the 150 pound individual who wants to hit eventually 150 grams of protein a day, but they're shooting for the lower end. Say, for example, they're going to try to shoot for 105 grams, that's 0.7 per body weight per pound, 105 grams of protein daily. Now, step number 2, as we already mentioned, was to divide that number. Now, let's divide it by 3, maybe up to 4, maybe up to 5 times. And the reason why I tell my clients this is because it's helpful to know the number that we're trying to hit is manageable to hit in what I like to call protein intakes throughout the day. Okay, because if you see the overall number, it's pretty overwhelming, or it could be overwhelming like, holy crap, Diego, I'm only eating 50 grams of protein, but you're telling me I have to hit 105? But now, if we divide that, let's do our math here. So 105, divided that by 3, that's 35 grams of protein per meal. Manageable, right? Or if we divide that by 4, that becomes 26 grams of protein per meal. Or if we even do like 5, that's 21 grams of protein we need to eat per meal or per protein intake throughout the day. So if you look at the app right now, so let's go to the app. The MyFitnessPal app is the one we're going to be talking about today. If you go to the app, you'll see you go to your diary. You see the word there, breakfast. lunch, dinner, snacks. What I like to do, I want you to mentally cross off that word breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. I want you to look at those as meal one. Whatever is your intake at that meal one. That's your meal one. Meal two will be the lunch. Meal three will be dinner. Meal four will be the snacks at the end. It just makes it all the more easier doing it that way. 4 is not a magic number, but it seems to be a little bit more helpful when people have a little bit more intakes throughout the day. Like 4 seems to help a lot more of the general population. Shoot, it even helps me out big time. I do 4, maybe 4 and a protein shake if I'm running low on protein, which is pretty rare. Or sometimes if I'm hungry, I want an extra meal and I eat 5. But 4 will be ideal and easier to get. Now, if you're someone who eats only twice a day, then that could be very difficult. So aim for 3, right? And then eventually, if you could, go for 4. But remember that these protein intakes, depending on your body weight, doesn't have to be insane amount of food in one shot. Try to get the best you can or whatever you can during each protein intake throughout the day. And you will not be overly stuffed. If you try getting your protein goal in one sitting, like say you're trying to hit 105, that's over 50 grams of protein in one sitting, you're gonna struggle. And hopefully your digestive system doesn't struggle along with you too. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Number 3, we're gonna need a way to track our food. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to use the MyFitnessPal app, which is a very well-known app that you could use to track your food. But you're going to also need something else, and that's a food scale. Now, don't worry. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, a food scale? I'm not trying to be obsessive about this or be like one of those people, whatever that means. I've had people tell me that multiple times. And then they eventually give in and they get a food scale and they see the benefit of it. So trust me, I'm not telling you to track every grain of rice or quinoa you put in your body. It's just to get an accurate idea, because eyeballing proteins, it's not as good as you may think. I used to think I was very solid in eyeballing. Oh, this may be 4 ounces, is about my palms, but really it was 3 something. Or it was way over that. So definitely having a food scale will be beneficial. So if you're putting your protein on, your meats, fish, whatever it may be, I would track it in ounces, okay? And that will make it easier for you to track. So you have your MyFitnessPal app as well as your food scale. Those are gonna be 2 sources that may not be 100% accurate, but we want to be as accurate as possible. So now we're already done with step number 3. We have a way to track. However, it's best to know how much protein we're currently consuming. To track your protein or track your meals throughout the week, try your best to get over the learning curve of the MyFitnessPal app. You don't even have to buy the premium. I don't even have the premium. I don't tell anyone to buy the premium. If you want to, you go ahead, but you don't have to. But track your food for a whole week and see how you're doing. You're gonna notice that you're probably under eating protein by a lot. And it's gonna be something to be adjusted, right? But just see how you're doing, track it for a week, and then afterwards, that's when we're gonna implement these strategies. So after that week, you're gonna know exactly what goal you may need and want to hit. So now, the MyFitnessPal app comes with they adjust the goal for you, but really I want you to take the power into your hands and adjust the protein intake goal. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna go to the MyFitnessPal app. So go ahead, go to your app. We're gonna go there, we're gonna let it load, open up, and then we're gonna go to diary, right? So now, if we scroll down, we're gonna go to nutrition. You touch that. And you see these percentages, you go to nutrients, then macros, and in macros, you see these percentages, the goal, they're all in blue. You see right now it's preset it to 45, 40, 15, right? Something ridiculous like that. So click on that. You see I set it for 2,000 calories for today. That's not a magic number, but just for the example for today. we're going to click on that percentage of 15% of protein, right? We see that. We want it to get it close to, as close to as the minimum or in between the maximum and minimum. Minimum being a 105, maximum or more. It could be 150 grams of protein. So let's see if we could adjust that to, let's see, it was 125, 150. Perfect. So we're going to keep that down. So now when we make the adjustments to one side, you see protein is 30%. Now we got to make the adjustments on either the carbs and the fats. I'm going to go down one in carbs, go down one in fats, go down one again. Beautiful. So 35, 30, 35. We hit 150 grams of protein, 175 grams of carbs, 770 grams of fats. I wouldn't go any lower than 25 to 30 percentage wise for fats. But we're going to talk about that in another time, another day. But we're going to adjust that. Boom, it's saved. So that's something you need to adjust as well. So now that we adjusted that, step number 6 is to adjust the serving sizes for each protein. Now, let me show you another example. Let's say if you go to your app, we're going to go on diary again. Let's say for lunch, you're going to eat, let's see, we're going to eat some ground beef. I like some ground beef. Now, you're going to notice here in the how much, you're going to touch that. It usually gives you a preset of what the ounces, every 4 ounces. But I like to adjust that to 1 ounce. And then when I measure it, after I cook it, I put it on the scale and I notice that, okay, I put this amount, it seems like it's 5 ounces. So I put 5 ounces and boom, you see? Now we see the adjustment. We see the protein, the fat, 0 carbs. We want that number, boom, we click it in and it is part of our meal. And that's what I mean by adjusting the serving sizes per protein. That was a little tricky sometimes because you're not gonna always find that adjustment in the serving sizes. Sometimes you will, but what I like to do is to look up the names of the brands that I have. For example, the grass-fed beef was from Simply Nature. So I looked that up. Simply Nature grass-fed 93.7. I look it up and I make sure the macros match the back, right? The calories, the nutrition label. And then that's when I'm able to adjust it. So that's when I click on that, see if I'm able to have it either in ounces or in grams, whatever it may be. So remember this for step number 7. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I know that sounds a little harsh, like, whoa, Diego, okay, I'm not trying to fail here. But really, planning for the next day or the next few days will be super helpful. So let's see what we could do. What I like to do with myself, even what I suggest with my clients, is plan for the next day. Think about the foods you already have that's already cooked, or you could cook for tomorrow, right? Think about that. When you have an idea for the next day and what you have already, then you could plan out your meals. So let's go on the app, let's check this out, and let's do our best to plan for the next day. I'm going to use the example of someone who's 150 pounds, who's trying to hit 150 grams of protein a day, and who's trying to hit roughly 2,000 calories a day. Now we're going to talk about calories, carbs, and fats for another time, but let's go about this with the goal of hitting our protein in mind, okay? So let's go on there. So let's go on our app. Okay, so we see here we see breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and we want to keep in mind there's going to be a meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4. So let's go to breakfast. Let's do this. Let's put some eggs in there. I like to eat eggs in the morning. We're going to eat 3 eggs in the morning. Boom. Save that. All right. So now we're going to have some oats. 40 grams of oats, 5 extra grams of protein there. Powdered peanut butter in my oats. I don't like eating plain oats. I like to put, boom, right there, 20 grams of powdered peanut butter. Right there we got breakfast. 443 calories for that breakfast. Now let's scroll down. Let's see how much grams of protein. That's 33 grams of protein for that breakfast. Solid breakfast right there. Breakfast of champions. Now let's go to lunch. Let's see what we're gonna eat for lunch. We could eat some ground beef. So let's put that. So boom, 93.7 ground beef. We're gonna put at least 5 ounces there. 28 grams of protein. So I'm gonna save that bad boy. Let's see what we could eat with the ground beef. Let's have some white rice with that. But, you know, we're probably not going to be too carb heavy. Let's put 100 grams of carbs or 100 grams of rice there. Boom, saved. I want something fibrous. So we're going to put spinach, 2 cups sauteed. That's extra 2 grams of protein. Let's go back. All right, 368 grams for meal number, or calories for meal number 2. And that's 66 grams so far in that day. So now meal number 3, aka the dinner there, as you see. Let's see what we can have here. So we could put chicken. I want some chicken thighs. I like chicken thighs. Let's see, we could have at least 4.5 ounces. 4.5. There you go, 31 grams of protein. Let's save that bad boy. And then we could have, let's see, I like quinoa. So we're going to have at least, that looks good, 150 grams of quinoa. I feel like I'm eating air with quinoa sometimes, so I like to eat a good amount. And then let's have some avocados. Nothing wrong with some avocados. So let's put 100 grams of that. Already, avocados has 2 grams of protein there. And boom, we hit 567 calories for meal number 4. Now, we're in 106 total in protein. So let's check this out. Let's see if we have meal number 1, meal number 2, meal number 3. So meal number 4, aka the snacks. Let's have something else. Let's put some salmon. I like to eat a slice of salmon with my wife sometimes. 4 ounces there. And then I want some more veggies for the end of the day. Let's put some broccoli in that bad boy. So I like to adjust the settings. Serving size to 1 gram. I'm gonna put 100 grams. I'm gonna save that. Perfect. Boom. We got some fiber. We got some protein there. Boom. All right. So you see that? We got meal number 1 all the way to 4. But you know, look at that. We are hit at 130 grams of protein. We're missing 20 left. Let's see if we could try to hit that 20 or more in this last thing. Probably do it by means of a shake. Let's see. Let's do that. Let's have a protein. Say we can't eat no more. We could do a protein shake. I'm going to have a protein. I'm going to adjust this to the actual serving size, 31 grams. That's what it says behind the protein bag. Save that. I like some peanut butter in my protein shake. I don't know about you, but no, not powder peanut butter. I want actual peanut butter. So let's go back. Let's see. There you go. So we're going to find the actual peanut butter, the creamy. I'm going to put at least 20 grams of that in there. Okay, let's save. I like to drink my protein shakes with 2% milk. Up to you, almond milk, whatever you decide to do. So let's find that. Boom, okay. So now we're 15 calories over. Not going to die from that. But look at that. 167 grams of protein that day. What? You went over your goal. There's nothing wrong with hitting over your goal either. Shoot, I'd rather you hit over than under, to be quite honest. But look at that. We got 4 meals, 1 shake in that time. We see meal number 1. We're scrolling down to meal number 2, right? And now we're scrolling down to meal number 3. Boom, right there. Meal number 4 with the salmon and broccoli. And I guess you could call it a meal or a protein intake number 5, which is a protein vanilla whey shake with peanut butter and some regular 2% milk. And boom. Excellent. 160 grams of protein, 131 grams of carbs, 90 grams of fats. That's what we're going to get to another time. But really, the protein goal was the main goal. But we see if we do this, if we plan for the next day, then we'll be successful. We know exactly what we need to measure out, put in a container to take to work, whatever it may be. I plan especially before going to work. I know I take 2 to 3 meals to work because I space out my clients. I train a good amount, eat, train a good amount, eat, train a good amount, eat, and then go home. So I make sure I space out my time and I know exactly, okay, this is what I could take to work. I have a microwave there. I could do this, do that, cook it the day before or the weekend before, do a bulk in cooking, whatever it may be. If I know what's cooked, if I know what I have at home, I could plan it more effectively. And when I do that, I plan for the next day, then more often than not, I'm going to hit my protein intake. And same for you. If you plan for the next day, there's no way you're not going to hit your protein intake unless you plan something you don't have, right? And that's what you don't want to do. So I hope this video helped you big time in getting ideas on how to use the MyFitnessPal app, how to use a scale sometimes, right? And how to plan for the next day in order to hit your protein goal. Because that is the most important macronutrient you should be increasing if you want to see the benefits from it. And if you want to know the benefits of having a higher protein diet, then look at my first video on the power of that macronutrient. So guys, thank you so much for watching and staying to the end. I want to please ask you to like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. There's simple tips that you could take home or take literally or tell anyone and apply it to yourself, right? Until next time, I'll see you. And again, my name is Diego. It's nice having you on here. Bye.